Oh, it's not too bad. I don't know what we do in the cities though nowadays.
Yeah. Good. Glad you did.
Yeah, I'm impressed.
What's that? Caught me by surprise. Would you please join me in saying the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance.
Morning, Mr. Chair.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, everyone. I welcome you here this morning, Tuesday, February 24th, 2026. This is the meeting of the Morrison County Board of Commissioners. Gentlemen, we have an agenda in front of us. Do we have any additions, deletions? We don't have any corrections to the agenda. We have a motion by Commissioner Lemire.
Second.
And a second by Commissioner Wincher to approve the agenda. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed. We have an agenda. First thing, I look to Mr. LeBlanc. We have employee recognition and years of service.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you for the opportunity to recognize a few of our employees this morning. On behalf of the County Board and Chair, I want to welcome everybody here. It's awesome. It's a full house. I appreciate the support. I know that a few of you are going to be called forward, but most of you are here to show support for your counterpart, your peer, your partner, what have you. But the strength of our organization is our people, and we know that. And this is a testament to those folks who have chosen to stay committed to Morrison County and to provide service and a professional level of service to our residents that they expect. In a moment, we'll recognize 15 employees with over 220 years of service with Morrison County, which is absolutely remarkable. And as stated, we couldn't do it without our people, without our staff. They are what's most important to us. They are what matters most. And to just take a pause once a quarter to recognize them for their commitment to the organization, I appreciate the opportunity, Mr. Chair. Our Award of Excellence program, for those that don't know, we recognize employees with years of service with Morrison County, continuous years of service at 5-year increments, not continuous, cumulative. Because one of them here today had a little break, but he's back, right, Aaron? So we're happy to have him. But cumulative years of service at 5-year increments. From 5 years to 45 years, we recognize those folks who have stayed with us. And part of that recognition is coming before the county board. Also, you'll notice on the table here off to my right here, they have an option to either receive a piece of Morrison County apparel or some Morrison or chamber bucks to be used here locally. So that's our program. It's wonderful, and I appreciate all those that carved some time out of your day today for this recognition. You absolutely deserve it. We're grateful for your continued service here with the organization, and I appreciate you letting us recognize you very briefly for that time. So, and one, what do we want to call it? Administrative note, don't shake Commissioner Lemire's hand. Okay. He asked me to tell you that, otherwise I wanted to call him out. But it's not because he doesn't want to commend you, he just doesn't want to get you sick. So, without further ado, we'll start off with the 5 years. As I call you up here, we'll do it by time period. So, we'll in just a second, we'll have Jared and Nicole come up. Then we'll have the 5-year recipients stay up to take a photo of the board, and then I'll ask you to come back down, and then we'll continue through that process up to the 25-year mark. And then at the end, I hope that you're all able to stick around, and we'll have a group photo of all of you here that are recognized today. So, Nicole, 5 years in Morrison County. And Jarrett, come on up. Congratulations. Thank you. All right, I'll have the 5-year recipients please head up on top and get your photo.
5 years already. Wow.
Thanks, Chair.
Time
Congratulations.
flies. How you doing?
Good, good.
Right here,
Okay.
right in the center of those two gifts there. Right here.
Howdy. Walden, how are you?
Congratulations, sir. Congratulations.
You want me to stand in the back?
Got it.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you. 5 years. 10-year recipients, Tina Wagner. Thanks, Tina. Congratulations. Brianna Germain. Congratulations, Brianna. I think I'm a quarter late. Emily Loomis. Congratulations, Emily. Thank you. Eve Belfamy. Congratulations, Eve. And Shane's not here today, but I do want to recognize Shane for his 10 years. So if you're keeping track, this is, well, let's see, lopsided on community corrections. They have 3 of the 5 here in 30 years. But for our 10-year recipients, please give them a round of applause.
Thank you, ladies.
Right there. Good job.
Yeah.
Yes, but I also want the ladies to take half a step that way. Sorry? This way? Here you go. Perfect. Yes. But everyone else, there you go.
Eve's got to raise hers too.
So sorry.
All right.
Got it. Thanks.
All right. Good job. And now our 15-year recipients, Jeff Bowman. Congratulations, Jeff. Thank you. Mr. Tom Fusi. Congratulations, Tom. Thank you. And Aaron Stein. Congratulations, Aaron. Thank you. Come on up, gentlemen.
Thank you so much, you guys. Appreciate it.
For all your hard work, guys. Make a note, so we can move all the way.
Did I miss something?
We got it there.
We got it? All right.
Actually,
Block anybody.
there you go.
Tippy goes.
Got it.
All
All
right.
right.
Is Gail here this morning? Gail Miller? Yes, come on up. Morning, Gail. Thank you. 20 years of service. Thank you. And James Pachalki, I didn't see. All right. Well, congratulate James. Round of applause. And that's it. Come on up, Gail.
Thank you so much, Gail.
Gail, you get to be front and center, right?
Yeah, I see. Short one.
All right, you guys squeeze in there. All right.
Congratulations, Gail. All right, and Jane called in. She's not able to make it today, but please recognize Jane for her 25 years in Morrison County. And Jean is somewhere warmer. So let's congratulate Jean. She's not here today. Nancy, come on up. "25 quick ones." Thank you, Nancy. That's it. Thank you for coming in. Thank you. Congratulations. Come on.
Thank you so much, James.
Nancy, nice job.
Nancy.
Get up here and there you go.
All right, all of our recipients are making your way up, please. We'll take a group photo. Tom, come on, please. Oh, bring your certificate. Then we won't, then Nancy won't be by herself. All right. Jared, you might have to go on the end. Well, Sabby, there you go, buddy. Appreciate it.
This'll work, right? It's like you guys have done this before.
I'm gonna crop it so I could just put a.
How's it look?
Well, I need everyone to take a half a step that way, like literally everybody. Perfect. Perfect. Got it.
All right. One more round of applause. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Nicole. Thanks, Emily. Thank you. Thanks for being here. Don't forget your stuff. Thanks, Tom. Thanks, Tina. Thanks, Gil. Thanks, Nancy. Appreciate it. Thanks, buddy. Yep. I think this one is.
What are you gonna do with it?
Display in my office, it's two pointers there every time.
Thank you.
Exactly what you should do.
I'm gonna be that big someday.
Potatoes. Thank you, Mr. Chair. That concludes employee recognition.
Thank you, Mr. LeBlanc, and that's always one of our most favorite opportunities here to recognize our members of our family here, too. Gentlemen, next thing on the agenda is the consent agenda. Is there anything that anyone would like to pull for further discussion? Seeing not, I would
I'll make a motion to approve as presented.
We have a motion by Commissioner Wincher and a second by
I'll second it.
Commissioner Moran to approve the consent agenda. Discussion. Seeing no discussion, gentlemen, this will be a roll call. Commissioner Moran?
Aye.
Commissioner Wincher?
Aye.
Commissioner Lemire?
Aye.
Commissioner Casper?
Aye.
The chairman votes aye. All those voting in the affirmative, the consent agenda is passed. Gentlemen, next thing up on the agenda, we have the Great River Regional Library here. Ladies, if you'd like to come forward and join us up front.
Good morning,
Yeah.
everybody.
Feel free to pull the microphones down, and I'll ask you to introduce yourself for the tape here.
Sure. My name is Brandy Cantor. I am the new Executive Director for Great River Regional Library.
My name's Kara Langston. I'm the Lead Patron Services Supervisor for Great Regional Library. Did I miss that?
Welcome this
Let me
morning.
interrupt, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to congratulate Brandy. How long you been the director at the Red River now?
Since mid-October.
Okay, again,
Yeah.
congratulations.
Thank you.
Yes, it's a pleasure to have you here with
Thank you
us
so
this
much.
morning.
It's a pleasure to be here, Commissioners. Yeah, and it's Also, coincidentally, my 25th anniversary with Great River Regional Library. I started in February 2001 as what was then called the branch manager at the Royalton Public Library. So Morrison County Libraries are very near and dear to my heart. Yeah, the Royalton Library could not have been a better launching pad for me in my library career as a professional library. And so we are here today, Kara and I, to basically talk a little bit about Great River Regional Library and some of the fun things and good things that have been going on in Morrison County in the last year or so. And within, of course, Great River Regional Library, we have a 6-county region, and we have 5 locations in Morrison County. So that would be Little Falls, Pierce, Royalton, Swanville, and Upsala. And they're different, very different libraries, but they're all near and dear to our hearts. So this first slide just talks, just as a reiteration of our map of service. Our mission is to serve all central Minnesotans with library collection and services. And we try to walk that talk every single day at Great River Regional Library. And yeah, thanks for having us here. Go ahead to the next one. So one thing this year is we are embarking on a new 5-year strategic plan. It is a state statute requirement that we have a new strategic plan every 5 years. And so as Commissioner Casper was part of our board to get that approved last year, so we're very excited about setting off on that. We still have our core values of exceptional service, forward thinking, and that community focus. And then our strategic directions are supporting learning. So we want to really look at our core literacy programs and support and build those. If you've noticed in the news, some of the scores and literacy levels in the state and in the country are really not where we'd like them. And so when we looked at the strategic plan to say, what do? We said we need to double down. We need to really focus on our core and build literacy. And that includes, obviously, for the youngins, but also adult literacy. And that includes different kinds of literacy as well, such as technology literacy, digital literacy. But that core reading literacy is really, really important. We want to share our story better. That is our second strategic direction. We hear from a lot of people who love the library, and that's fantastic, but we also hear from people who are like, oh, I didn't know you had a library in Upsala, or I didn't know you did this. And so we want to really share that story more so people know what we have. Another strategic direction is to welcome all, and in that sense, we really care, again, about walking that talk of we are here to serve Central Minnesota, and we want to expand access so that people know there's a library, can get to the library. Once they're in the library, they can get a library card. Just make it as easy as possible for people to use our services and for our communities to be enriched by having libraries there. And then finally, growing partnerships. And of course, our counties, those are key partnerships. And I want to, again, just thank you for the support that Morrison County has provided to support public library services for all of our communities. So thank you very much.
So, again, my name's Kara Langston. I'm the lead patron services supervisor, and I supervise all the libraries in Todd, Morrison, now Benton, and a good chunk in Stearns. So I work with all the folks who work locally in Morrison County. Initially, you all were going to have some library service coordinators who work in the individual branches. Unfortunately, everyone got sick. So I'm a pale substitute for my coworkers who work in the branch. But what I can tell you is that the staff at these branches are passionate about libraries. They're passionate about serving their communities. And I'm always excited when I get to go out and spend some time both with the staff and with the communities in these locations. So you can see some of our 2025 overview across the top. So card numbers, estimated number of library visitors, new library card holders, things like that all across the region. And then on the next slide, you're going to see some Morrison County specific statistics. our circulation per branch, total number of borrowers, and new borrowers. And I'll let you read through those numbers, but what I want to point out, especially with the numbers of new borrowers, we have several locations that have some great pushes and in their local schools. So I know here in Little Falls, there are groups of school children that will come, depending on the grade level, the entire grade will come. And the same thing in Royalton. We have entire groups of after-school kids, entire classrooms coming and getting their library cards with their teachers. And so it's just this really great, kind of synergy between the schools and the teachers and the libraries, making sure that we've got cards in the hands of some of our youngest community members. I'm gonna go ahead and turn the slide over.
All right. So last year's highlights, we set a record region-wide for Summer Reading Challenge participation, and that is basically ages 0 to 17. And so we are so excited about that because COVID was hard on us when it came to the reading programs. And so the staff in Morrison County, as well as across the region, worked really, really hard to reconnect with families, to reconnect with schools, to reconnect with communities and say, we're still here, we're still the library your kids are gonna love to come to. And so we just could not be more excited to have had a record-breaking year last year. We also had great participation in the Winter Reading Challenge. You can see here we have a couple other things, the Minnesota State Parks Library Program. This is one of those things when I talked about sharing our story, people don't necessarily know that they can go to the library and check out a pass for 1 week's 3 free visits to state libraries. It's parks, sorry, state parks, thank you. Getting too excited, my tongue is getting tangled. But that is another great collaboration with the Minnesota Department of Natural Resources. And we have those passes at both the Little Falls and the Uppsala libraries. So someone could stop at Little Falls, use their library card to check out a park pass, and they can go wander through the Charles Lindbergh State Park, just like that. So no charge. We also had a teen sticker contest that drew submissions from around the region, and that was just really fun. That's one of the fun kind of things that we like to do periodically to just get kids excited about how they can participate.
Okay, so these Morrison County stories are pictures from our local libraries around Morrison County. And it's important to note that we have programs and library displays for folks of all ages, and all ages and all backgrounds. So what you're seeing across the top there is a pollinator exhibit that are, I believe this one, it's moved around our region in a couple different places. I believe the pictures here are from the Little Falls Library. And the library can check that out from the Minnesota Pollution Control Agency and have a display on pollinators out. They're really very interesting and really intricate pieces, so they're great to have around. And you can see down in the left-hand corner, there's an outdoor ECFE story time. So that's a partnership. A number of our libraries have partnerships with the early childhood education. And this one was a story time outside. We've got some kids reading together. And then the Garbage Friends event was one of our many arts and cultural heritage events. And these are big pulls, especially in the summer. It never ceases to amaze me. Like, I can show up in Piers and that entire library will be packed with parents and their kids coming to see and take part in an event. Like, that one was Garbage Friends, so using materials in an art project. There's been Clay City, things like that. So these, we're using state funding to pull in arts and cultural heritage events around our region and around Morrison County in areas where they, may not have had those opportunities. As far as other regular events, you know, it's a huge list. If you get on any of our events page and look, we have regular story times, book clubs for all ages, puzzle tournaments. We pull in authors to talk both at libraries and at schools. We are constantly having schools visit the library, our staff going to libraries. And we've had a number of collaborations with community and county organizations. And then near and dear to my heart is the Youth Advisory, Youth Advisory Commission, or, yeah.
Advisory panel?
Oh, yeah, the Youth Advisory Panel for the youth at Great River. So every year, we advertise across the entire region, and we really try and get teens to join us via Zoom from all over. And I'm really excited. This year, we have 3 teens representing Morrison County. So I have a teen with the Piers, a Royalton, and a Little Falls address. So we're really excited to pull in teens to give us advice and feedback. You know, they do it over Zoom because we are not all driving into St. Cloud on a school night. But we've had some really amazing feedback, and they even, a group of them even presented at the Minnesota Library Association conference with me and other staff this year. So it's a really great opportunity. So yeah, looking forward to continuing this kind of service to our community in the coming year.
All right, and that is us. Again, thank you for your support, and do you have any questions for Kara or myself?
Gentlemen,
Keep up the good work. Yeah, Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Moran.
I'd like to make one comment. When you said focus on the core, I think that's great. Return to the basics, recognize that there is an issue, and I think that's great. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you all for your time, and
Thank you for being here. And
Yeah, and-
congratulations to you.
thank you. And I love the way that you all celebrate your staff who've been here for a long time. That was really
So-
good. As a director, I was like, ooh, I want to do something like that, because what you just did was really cool.
It's joyful.
So to that point, thank you for that. You know, I have to ask about if there are staffing needs for, you know, you have a number of locations, as we see on the map, in a number of counties. Do we have access to adequate staff, to human resources to man our facilities?
You know, there can be a lot of variation from library to library depending on the community, and also depending on what's going on with the economy, quite frankly. Right now, we have been having great luck pulling in excellent staff over the last year. So I'm thrilled. I just got to approve hires this week for a couple new people. And so we're in a good place right now, I think. Thank you for that.
And that's always always an important part of success and sustainability out there, having those human resources out there. And I'm sure that we also are looking and entertaining volunteers to also help us
Right.
at these facilities too, correct?
There are a number of volunteer opportunities at many libraries. And in fact, here in Little Falls, we are hoping to do a pilot project, Read to Grow.
To grow.
And that is basically a collaboration between library staff and local volunteers to provide one-on-one literacy coaching to kids who are struggling with their reading levels during the summer. And so with that, we are already kind of looking around to find where can we find some volunteers who can really help us support that. Are piloting that, as I said, hopefully in Little Falls and Elk River this year to learn how it goes and what we need to make it successful, and then we hope to expand that further throughout the region in coming years.
Very good, thank you. And Commissioner Casper, you're our liaison to Great River Regional Library. Please.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, it's an honor to serve with you folks.
Thank you.
The difficult part for me is oftentimes we have a meeting on a Tuesday evening at the county here, and those
sure.
two meetings conflict, but I can promise you, I'm always making every effort to be with you.
Thank you.
Yeah, God bless your efforts there. Keep up the good work.
Thank you so much. And
Yeah.
thank you.
Congratulations on that 25 years, Brandy.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I also just want to say thank you to Commissioner Wincher, who was also part of our board for a good long time and supported us very well. So thank you all.
Yeah, he's a
Ladies,
big-
thank you so much for being with us today.
Yeah.
Come and
You
see
have a
us
good day.
again.
Will do.
Godspeed in your travels.
Thank you so much.
Gentlemen, next on our agenda, I'll ask the sheriff to come forward with his monthly report.
Thank you, Craig.
Mr. Chair, members of the board.
Morning.
It's good to have you.
So Sheriff Sean Larson, I'm here with jail programmer Scott Trong. He's going to talk a little bit about the rec program that we just recently had. The plan is to go through the report and then circle back and end with Scott, if that works for you guys.
Fantastic.
All right.
Go ahead and proceed, Sheriff.
Okay. So you'll notice the monthly report, our office support supervisor, Christy Norton Lopez, she changed up some of the information and the style, so there's gonna be a few new things that kind of jump out at you. So the first page, it's called At a Glance, just kind of shows a summary of January and what we dealt with as far as all the data. The next page, as normal, is some photos that we like to highlight and share with the board. Our first photo, you'll see we had it was an old farmhouse in rural Little Falls, and the owner informed us that he's gonna eventually burn this place, so he's nice enough to allow us to use it for training purposes. So we did some room clearing and we did some scenario-based training. Warrant service, armed suspect, burglaries in progress, things of that nature. So we trained on clearing techniques, proper approach and communication, threats versus non-threats, and basically doing all these scenarios, making split-second decisions under stress, which is what we do. The next picture we'll come back to, that's our rec program. And then we have a picture of our deputy, Deputy Wise, and then we have a picture of our dispatcher, Amber Percy. They were recognized by the VFW in Randall. They started doing this a couple years back where they'll reach out to us and they say, we want to recognize a dispatcher and we want to recognize a deputy. And then we turn it over to our supervisors and we kind of look at a year and at a glance, and we try and figure out who the right person should be recognized. And those two were honored last month. And then we're kind of back in the stride of getting into our schools, spending some time with our youth. You'll see these were the 3rd and 4th graders at Pioneer Elementary. We just had a recent chiefs meeting with all of our small town chiefs. And we talked about the importance of this in trying to get into all the schools within Morrison County, so that's our goal. As far as the number of complaints received, you'll see we received 704. Our criminal complaints was 34. The majority of those were theft and property damage. Moving on to our traffic citations. We had 14 written warnings, 145 verbal warnings. The 27 miscellaneous line items listed were for citations for the offenses. Calls for service, we had 637. Out of those calls for service, we had 62 different categories. So I won't list all 62, I'll just highlight a few. We had 84 medical and ambulance runs throughout the county. We had 46 agency assists. That would be like local police departments, neighboring sheriff's offices, state patrol, fire departments, EMS service, etc. We had 24 car-killed deer. Not all squad cars. This is out in the public where someone has an interaction with a deer and they'll call it in for insurance purposes or just make a report. And then we had 82 property damage complaints that were called in. So those were kind of the most that we saw out of that 637 number. You'll see we had for drug investigations, kind of lists our controlled buys, undercover buys, and the investigations and search warrants that we did. For training, this is something new she added. We had one person attend 16 hours of medical training. We had one deputy attend 11 hours of computer and software training for investigation purposes. And then the training photo that I showed before, we had 21 deputies attend hour for hour, 21 hours of training if you add all the deputies up for training. And then she added news releases. This is news releases that go out per the month. We had two one-vehicle rollovers that we reported, and then one burglary that we reported as a news release as well. Moving on to inmates, you'll notice we had 26 for an average of Morrison County. For the month of January, Beltrami, we had 18 for an average. If you include out-of-county inmates as well as our own, we averaged 45. If we move to the next page, I don't think we've ever really tallied fingerprinting fees, but this is something new. We brought in $209 for the month of January. So that's our book and releases. If someone wants to get a suppressor for a weapon, they have to be fingerprinted as well. Background checks, and sometimes just for licenses for nursing and insurance, et cetera, people have to come in and get fingerprinted. So those are some of the fees that we accept that generate revenue. Out-of-county inmates, we brought in $35,475 for the month of January. And then pay to stay. That's somebody that basically they don't get charged until they're sentenced, and then they have to pay $25 a day. It eventually gets turned over to collections, and that's how we receive our fee. And we brought in $1,849.81 for the month of January. And then you'll see our 2-year comparison below. With that, are there any questions?
Gentlemen, questions? Commissioner Moran.
Just quick on the fingerprinting. You said nursing, but it's my understanding, we had this at our social services part where these people applying for these nursing positions needed to be fingerprinted. And we were told that that's totally separate from what you do.
We've done some in the past. I know that there's an electronic way to do things. We don't handle anything electronic. We actually do the print cards. So it's actual just hands-on the fingerprint card. So if that's something they accept, we'll make exceptions to do that, but it's nothing electronically.
Any other questions? Gentlemen, Sheriff, I would also commend your staff, change in layout in your report. Very nice and very complete. Commissioner Casper.
Mr. Chair, thank you. Sean, question to you, and I may have missed it going through here, but this is a poignant question, but what do you see as a drug of choice these days? What are people going after, or what are the trends?
Sure.
The sick trends?
Yeah, it seems to change quite a bit. With a recent conversation with our drug task force, cocaine has come back into the mix.
Oh.
And it's affected central Minnesota predominantly. So are we still chasing fentanyl? Yes. Are we still chasing methamphetamine? Yes. But a lot of cocaine. And that's primarily the St. Cloud area, but it has filtered through into our county as well. So it seems to swing and change every now and then, and that's kind of what we're looking at predominantly.
It's like the stock market.
Yes, yes.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you,
sir.
Sheriff. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
You're welcome, Commissioner. So Sheriff, I believe you said you'd like to talk about the rec program?
Yes, Mr. Chair. So basically, we had our 55th annual rec program. Scott Drong has been doing a phenomenal job as our jail programmer. And I don't know.
I can go into it more if you want.
Yeah, absolutely. It's, we're all human, we all sin, and we all need Jesus. So to be able to see this program come back into our jail and continue, it's an absolute blessing. So I'll turn it over to.
It's a very powerful program. Residents Encountering Christ at the Morrison County Jail is a weekend-long based retreat designed to provide rehab, hope, reflection of these inmates. It involves volunteers, many volunteers rather. It includes activities like music, testimony, discussions and aims to support inmates in changing their lives. Some key details of the last weekend that we did. It was our 55th rec weekend. It was January 10th and 11th. 23 inmates completed that program, supported by 29 dedicated volunteers, and an additional 12 volunteers returned on that Sunday for a reunion that have done a rec in the past to welcome in the new and provide additional support. All volunteers come from numerous local organizations, parishioners from local church groups, as well as multiple past inmates that have served time in our county jail that have successfully completed a program and turned their life around, basically. It's a 2-day retreat. It often starts in January and July of each year. It's associated with Benton, Douglas, Otter Tail counties, as well as the Minnesota Correctional Facility in St. Cloud. Purpose of the program: encourage personal, spiritual, and moral reflection to aid in rehabilitation in their lives. The weekend starts Friday night for a team night for the volunteers at the Tech Center, just over at Belle Prairie. It's a prayer and welcome. A dinner is served, and the weekend itinerary is gone over along with prayer and music. Typically, the rest of the weekend includes a combination of group discussions, talks, chapel services, confessions, and fellowship. A full Christian-based mass is done at 11 a.m. on Sunday, so that's pretty powerful. It's kind of a celebration. Saturday is kind of the dying day, and then Sunday is kind of going to be the celebration of life. The rec weekend the rec team then reunites the following Friday night with about half their volunteers returning to recap the rec weekend of the previous. Volunteers bring in store-bought pies, they have ice cream, they do a little more reflection, prayer, and music. Inmate participation. The program usually is voluntary. I provide a sign-up sheet about a week prior to the event. And I would also like to thank the cooks that prepared the meals that weekend. They do a lot of extra work for nearly 90 extra people in the jail that weekend, including inmates and staff. It's a lot of work to set up. Typically, the day starts at 7 a.m. and ends at 8:30 p.m. With tear up, set up and tear up and break down all that. We also took pictures of the weekend, and they are on the Morrison County Sheriff's Office Facebook page. Kind of give the public an idea of what actually happens behind our walls in our jail. A lot of people don't get to see the inside and what we actually do. So, any questions?
Gentlemen.
So glad that you're keeping it going. Just takes helping one person that makes a difference. And from what I've heard from the past, they continually like to reach out to continue doing this in their futures. So we appreciate everything you do.
The next rec's gonna be July 11th and 12th, I might add, in 2026, this coming summer, so. A lot of returning inmates that come and do this rec. It's powerful. It makes a change in their lives, and it does work.
Yep.
100%.
Thank you.
Commissioner Wincher.
Scott, and one of the volunteers, I talked to him, and he had some big shoes to fill.
Yeah, I sure did.
He says you're doing a phenomenal job. So again, he was very impressed. I'm also impressed of the volunteers that go out and help you guys. I mean, like the sheriff said, you're taking over and you're just fitting right in. So appreciate the work you do, and everyone knows that, hey, we all have our times, and you're doing a great job to, make everybody come together and hopefully be more, in our society, be more, I don't know what the word I'm looking for, but it's a great job you're doing, so thank you.
Welcome.
Commissioner Casper.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes, Scott, Randy took the words right out of my mouth. I was afraid when Tim left that the ball might be dropped, but you've done well. And we won't know this side of eternity the lives that you guys are all touching. Keep up the good work. These guys and gals need a second shot at life, and you guys are a breath of fresh air for them. Thank you so much. God bless you.
Thank you.
And I'll just say, Tim was a regular visitor with the sheriff when the sheriff would come to visit with us on the board, and I want to extend that opportunity to you, Scott, to come and be with us and keep us posted on things too. I I applaud you, and I'm not going to put this undue pressure on with your predecessor or anything like that. We all have those opportunities in life, and there are times where we answer that call. I'm glad that opportunity and preparedness crossed for you here, and I'm glad that you're here with us this morning. And Sheriff, you also.
Thank you.
Anything else? Sheriff?
Thank you.
Scott, have a great day.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thanks, guys.
Keep up the good work.
Gentlemen, Mr. Bertram and staff are coming up from Health and Human Services this morning. Good morning, Nate.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, Board of Commissioners.
Morning, everybody.
Before I jump into some of this, I think we'll just get the intros out of the way. So Nathan Bertram, Health and Human Services Director.
Jeff Bowman, Health and Human Services, Adult Services Supervisor.
Derek Poser, Health and Human Services Fiscal Supervisor.
Amy Waldvogel, Health and Human Services Financial Assistance Supervisor.
Jessica Schindel, the Benton Region Welfare Fraud Investigator.
So this morning, well, I should start before that. The last couple months, obviously, you can't turn on the TV without seeing something about fraud in Minnesota. And so when we were talking about this as a team and how to put this together, we decided to bring something forward to you all to high level touch on kind of the intersection points of where some of these fraud allegations in the state cross over into services that Morrison County provides at Health and Human Services. So we will stay pretty high level. I anticipate some questions, and we'll have to probably dig into those after this meeting, and that's perfectly fine. We'll bring those back at a later point. And one thing I do want to say is there's a lot of allegations across the state at this point, and there hasn't been a ton of substantiation or charges yet. So there's a lot of stuff pending, and so there's a lot of parts that we don't know the depth or scope at the state level. And so we got 4 or 5 different areas we're going to touch on today that have been in the news at one point or another in the last couple months, and try to give you a kind of an overview of where Health and Human Services touches those. And with that, I'm going to kick it off to Jeff to let him start with some of the prepayment review stuff.
Yes.
Good.
Good morning. So yes, like Nathan had mentioned, what we're going to talk about first is the prepayment review that the state initiated back in October. This was a result of the state identifying 14 highly potential fraudulent services to initiate an additional oversight. Previously, payments would be submitted right after claims would be coming in. There wasn't this additional checks and balances that was happening at the state. They would come in, and then within 2 weeks, they would be sent out after every warrant cycle. The state has 30 days to process any claims that are submitted, and those claims that are identified as potentially fraudulent, they can take a substantial more amount of time. Providers are notified when their claim that they submit is one of these identified flagged claims, and the state can take a lot longer to process them. This helps to provide an extra step between claim submission and DHS making a payment. There is the potential for all programs, all services to go through this process. Right now, there are only 14 services that have been identified. And from the way it looks of it, this prepayment review is here permanently. They're not looking at ending this anytime soon. This is a new step the state is looking to help combat some of the charges and concerns that are coming about.
I'll just add one thing real quick. I think, I've had some one-on-one conversations with the Office Inspector General as well as DHS, and it is their intentions to move this prepayment process to all the Medicaid services. So Jeff touched on it, that's a possibility, but I'm just echoing that it is their intentions.
Commissioner Lemire?
If I may just ask one question, is that additional work for us, or is it just a delay in payment to the constituent?
It's a delay in payment to the providers. It potentially impacts our providers because a lot of the ones we work with in our area are smaller and don't have the capacity or reserves, can put them at potential risk, those that are doing what they're supposed to be doing, so.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
You're welcome. Go ahead.
On the next slide, you'll see the identified services. We've broken this down into two different categories. The one on the left is the list of services that Morrison County authorizes. The majority of these services are funded through the disability waiver programs and the elderly waiver program as well. Non-emergency medical transportation services is through our financial department. On the right, those services, those are state plan services available to everybody that meets the qualifications, has the insurance eligibility. Now, our case managers, our team, they will make referrals to those state plan services. They don't authorize them. So on the waiver services, those have to be determined eligible through their Min Choices assessment. Many of those services have limits that are based on that assessment, but others are based on what the individual's assessed needs are. I've heard that within the next so many months through summer, the state is going to be doing 5,800 unannounced visits to providers to make sure that they are doing what they're saying that they're doing. Now, one of the big things for us to recognize is Morrison County does not license these services. We authorize and approve them, so providers can get paid and individuals can access them.
I'll just clarify that a little bit. So DHS does the licensing, so they go into the program and say, you got X, Y, and Z, you got this staffing ratio, you have this part, you're licensed to have 15 people in your program. We authorize the service rate, so based off what Jeff said, the assessed need, we would go in the computer program and put this particular client is authorized for 5 units or 5 hours of this in a week. And so that's kind of the difference between it is DHS is really the oversight and licensing authority of these agencies. We are working with the clients to try to get them the needs from these agencies. I think the other thing I would call out is we have no authority to investigate in this area. Our responsibility in this area is to report and OIG and DHS do any investigation of potential fraudulent activity.
Mr. Chair,
Commissioner Moran?
just one question on this, both sides you authorize and then approve. How much of this is actual face-to-face, where you are meeting with these people? And how much of it is just online applications?
For the ones that we are approving, they are assigned a case manager. And at a minimum, they have twice a year face-to-face contact. A lot more frequent based on if their needs are higher, if they are needing more frequent contact. And we have, through the state, there's initiated setup meetings with providers. They have a 45-day meeting after a service has been set up to ensure that it's meeting the needs, if we need to make any adjustments, if it's a good fit. And then after that, they have semi-annual and annual reviews with the providers as well. A lot of times phone calls are made for referrals but there is face-to-face meetings with these providers.
Commissioner Lemire?
Just to Nate, you mentioned that we don't do the licensing, but we do set up the contact time with, what do you call, I call them client, what do you call them? Provider?
Clients, residents, yeah.
Residents. Is that gonna be delayed too, then, the contact time?
No, if I'm understanding the question, so like our contact time with the residents? Is that
Okay.
what you're insinuating?
You
or
said like
asking?
you set up, they get 5 hours or something. Is that with us? Or is that?
That's with like the provider,
With the provider.
So for example, I don't know, what's an easy one, Jeff?
CFSS. CFSS, which was PCA. That's what that has transitioned to over this past year. Their eligibility is based on the amount of support they need to perform their activities of daily living. So they do their annual Min Choices assessment, and they are authorized for 2, 6, whatever hours a day. For individualized home supports, there are 3 different services within that program. There's with training, without training, with family training. The state is in the process of reducing the limits from 16 hours a day with training and family training, higher rates, to only 6 hours a day.
Oh, wow.
It's just, we're really working with our providers on how to meet the needs of our individuals. So we do have some folks that they're preferring to live in their own setting, not a group home, foster care setting. They can live in their own apartment, and we would have that amount of staff going in there, and we're working with providers on how we can still meet these people's needs and how we can support them.
And just one more thing.
Yes.
I'm 100% keeping people accountable, but is this a metro deal that's coming up here into Morrison County?
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Lemire, are you talking just kind of the fraud in
Yeah.
general?
I mean, that's,
I have nothing factual, I guess, to base that on.
that's what it seems like to me. You don't have to say.
I
anything
feel
on it,
like
but
it's a
it
little
feels
bit
like
more of
that.
a problem in some of the bigger communities, yes.
Commissioner Wincher.
Question I have is, again, you mentioned the DHS does the licensing, how they do it, is in face-to-face. Those are not our problems, that's their problem. But when we have investigations out there, have we ever, in the past year, I would say, or maybe 2 years, have we ever maybe had a flag on someone that possibly could be fraudulent? And then was that reported back to the DHS? And what would the follow-up have been from DHS? Were these people removed, charged, or did they just get a slap on the hand?
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Wincher.
Mr. Bertram.
Yes, I can actively say that we've made several plus referrals to the state on some of these. Unfortunately, we don't always hear what the outcome is of those investigations, and so that becomes a little bit the difficult part for the staffing and for us when we're reviewing rates and trying to work with providers.
So we don't keep track, if I may, Mr. Chair, we don't keep track, client B, we think there's possibly something going on, a report client B to the DHS. They just, okay, we're not gonna let you know, or do we kind of watch, okay, client B was getting X amount of dollars supposedly from the county, well, now they're not on it. Do we keep track of that, or it's hard to do that?
Mr. Bertram.
It's a complicated system and issue, and I don't know how much we want to get into the weeds, but I can say that we've had disagreements with providers on how many rates they may or may not need to serve a client, and we've not always been willing to authorize said service rate, which then creates phone calls occasionally to myself,
In my
Administrator
opinion,
LeBlanc,
seems like
others.
the DHS isn't doing nothing, now they are, because they got caught, that's my opinion.
Jeff, anything else for us in your sector there?
Oh, you got a lot.
It's a complicated, complicated deal. We're tasked with meeting the needs of our individuals with the resources, and then also trying to be financially responsible to the taxpayers of the state. And there are many situations where we're kind of, in the past, we've been held over a barrel, lack of better words, to move forward with something we may not necessarily agree with, but it's what the person needs to remain out of the hospital, to reduce the impact to other resources that we have, so.
Moving on to Amy.
Yes, so the first thing we'll look at on the financial side of things is our fraud reporting collaboration that we have. Morrison County collaborates with Benton County, Mille Lacs, Sherburne, in regards to our fraud prevention investigation program. We do refer to it as BMMS. And that's where I did bring Jessica Schindel in today. She is our new fraud investigator. She started mid-December, end of December.
Yeah, end of December, yeah.
Yep, she came to us as a fraud investigator with some years of fraud investigating and then some recent time as an eligibility worker, so she brings lots of experience into the role. Our collaboration is with Benton County mainly. They are the administrating county over the 4 counties that are in the collaboration. We all share the one fraud investigator, so she does look over all of the reports that our eligibility teams do send towards her. The BMMS program is recipient-based, so we are looking at the fraud coming from the clients on this, and we are looking at fraud in regards to SNAP, our food program, any of our cash programs, so GA, MSA, Minnesota Family Investment Program, as well as our healthcare programs. So Jessica will go out to homes and interview the clients that are receiving these benefits to try to get to the bottom of what we believe the fraud is. The referral can come from any member of our eligibility team, whether it is part of my team or part of Ashley Effinger's long-term care or healthcare unit team. Or it could be somebody from the community has called in and given a report, and then we act on that report and send a referral out to Jessica to check on it. This program is grant funded, so the grant is approved by DHS. DHS is then further reimbursed federally for the grant. The program has a cost savings of 3 to 1, so that is our agreement with the state. Is every dollar that the state spends on the program, we are returning $3 in savings. Are there any questions in regards to the BMMS program?
Gentlemen.
Mr. Chair,
Commissioner Moran.
most of these are income-based to qualify for them.
Correct.
How is that income checked? How often is it checked, and do you just go by this client's making $5,000 a month? Or is there a computer system that runs through that to verify that income? How is it just by word?
Sure. Commissioner.
Ms. Waldvogel.
Every program has its own policies and procedures that we do have to follow, and they do need to verify their income. So people are sending in their pay stubs, their tax returns, whatever is the easiest for them to verify that income. Of course, self-employment gets a little more difficult at times on whether somebody is filing taxes on that. So those are, a lot of times those are self-statements or business ledgers that they do turn into us. So if we believe that that is incorrect, then that's where Jessica would come in with the fraud referral, and she'd be able to go out and speak to them to get more of a testify from them.
Thank you.
Commissioner Casper?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So Jessica, are you notified or do you spot check, or how does this work as far as fraud investigation with the 4 counties?
I'll get a referral.
You get a referral?
Yes, yep, it could come from the general public, it could come from the financial department, the state. If they see any inconsistencies in something, they will send me a referral, and then I will additionally do my investigation, which could be, unannounced house calls. I don't announce any house calls that I do. It could be a meeting at the agency with the client. Sometimes if it's just income, I could get income verification and send it back, which necessarily might not need a meeting with the client at that time. So it really depends on what the evidence is. And then once that evidence is obtained, we could disqualify them from the program. Or we could look at criminal charges, theft of public funds, perjury. So.
Mr. Chair, one more question.
You bet.
What about, are you pretty much overwhelmed? Is there a lot of fraud out there? What have you run into over these past several months?
Yeah, so it's really consistent, I would say from what I find with actual intentional fraud versus what I don't find, I would say it's probably like a 60-40, maybe 70-30. It's hard to put a number on it. You know, because sometimes talking with the client, they don't always understand the reporting requirements. You know, it's a lot of things to read when you do the application for the, you know, the rights and responsibilities. And sometimes it's just educating them, you know, and kind of like, don't let it happen again, or next time we'll, you know, kind of go a little farther with maybe a disqualification. And sometimes it definitely is intentional, but I would say it's probably a 60-40. You know, sometimes fraud isn't found. Sometimes you open a big can of worms to, you know, more stuff going on than what was originally sent, so.
You have a very busy job.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Amy, continue, or do you have anything else for us?
I can move on to my next slide.
Sure.
So my team also sees over the Child Care Assistance Program, which of course has been very popular lately. So my team handles more of, again, the recipient-based part of it, granting the assistance to the people who need the child care assistance to be able to bring their children to daycare, et cetera. So as of this month, February 17th, we have 20 active cases here in Morrison County. We also have 21 pending or temporarily ineligible. So these are cases that are already approved, but they're waiting for a little more information to become fully active. So sometimes the client or family has been approved for the child care assistance, but they don't have a provider set up yet. So we're waiting for them to get that set up with a provider, and then the payments will start going out to the provider when the child starts attending the daycare. Or we have families that possibly they're in between jobs right now, so they need the child care assistance when they're working, but they may have just left a job and they've got a couple of months before starting another job. So their child care assistance may be on pause for any payments going out to the provider, as there's no qualifying activity for that parent to be out of the home so they can stay home with their children. Right now, we currently have 78 children enrolled into the child care assistance program. Of course, that goes off the 41 cases that we have, so total of 41 families. Morrison County Health and Human Services, we process all provider payments under the Child Care Assistance Program. So the providers send in a statement of when the children have been at their daycare, and based off of the authorized hours that my team has approved for that child for that daycare, then the payments go out to the provider. And then a little more, when we're looking at the licensed childcare providers. So as far as the providers themselves, moving beyond the recipients of the childcare program, the providers, we have a contract with Sourcewell on licensing those family childcare providers. So Sourcewell also provides a regional licensing specialist for all of Region 5, including some other surrounding counties. Right now, they have approximately 10 counties that they handle the licensing for those providers. Here in Morrison County, we have 79 licensed family child care providers. The child care centers are licensed by the state, so Sourcewell does not go out and license the centers. Currently in Morrison County, we have 7 child care centers. Any questions in regards to the child care assistance program?
Gentlemen, questions? You know, Ms. Waldvogel, I'll say this is this is an area that's, received some attention both through the media and outside the media. And I think this is one of those areas that we also see kind of the negative effects of fraudulent activity that's taken place in places in the state, and the effect that's had on establishment of needed childcare facilities in the state because of this, because of action by, I'll say, bad actors out there. And so we have an indirect effect on people who are looking to provide, I'll say, honest services out there. And I think there's been I've been exposed to a number of individuals across the state, especially in the rural sector, who their opportunity to provide service within their community, the county, has been delayed or held up because of the actions of those who are wronging the system there too. We have a tremendous need for childcare providers and daycare providers here in our county. I'm hoping that at some point in time, the state will come up with a process that will help alleviate both ends of the spectrum. We can't, and we won't tolerate the fraudulent activity, and a lot of that's been very well documented. But also, we have to look at, can we have a process that allows those individuals who want to provide that service that's so needed out there too. And so I'm not sure if I'm asking a question or making a rhetorical statement, but I think I want to recognize the fact that we recognize the saw cuts both directions, and it does have an impact within the county, and we hear that here too. So with that, I will yield back to the panel here.
Yeah, so I guess we'll go to the next slide here. Just to kind of highlight, so Morrison County does have a collections officer in Health and Human Services, and kind of their role is to locate people owing debt to the state and county. They'll work with attorneys and families and probate actions for recovery, usually for medical assistance claims. We also assist with collecting public assistance overpayments. So some of Amy's programs she mentioned, the Minnesota Family Investment Program, food support, SNAP, and then medical assistance. And then once that's located, they'll work with the clients to determine a payback amount to apply towards that debt as applicable. We also collect parental fees for foster care placements to try and help offset some of those foster care costs. And then we do certified debt with revenue recapture. Revenue recapture is a state-based program that we have to do training and guidelines for, but essentially if there's eligible debt, we can put it on there and then they can collect it from their state tax return or refund. So that's, I mean, we did get a couple already this year, and we'll hopefully get a few more as tax returns come in, so. And then here's just some numbers for you on what we've collected from MA Estate the last 3 years. On the left is the total we've recovered in dollars, and then the right would be Morrison County's share. So we do get approximately 25% of what we collect. That's kind of the state and federal's like share, like thanks for doing the work for us essentially. And then we pay the rest out to the state to help offset. So really the main idea with that is they try and recover funds to keep the program going. And then here are just some other categories we collect on for the last 3 years. You'll see we have county burial, foster care in the middle, and then detox on the right. Then just kind of a summary. So MA Estate is probably our most complicated category, has the most revenue, but it's also the most unpredictable. It depends on, you know, how many people have passed, who was on medical assistance, what they had in their estate. And then like I mentioned, we get approximately 25%. For some of those public assistance programs, we can get anywhere from 0 to 50%. Currently, we get nothing for the supported housing. There has been talks about getting a county share for that, but I'm not sure where that sits. So that'd be nice to at least get a little bit for doing the work. But essentially for all of those, we collect the dollars, report them in the system, and then the state will invoice us the applicable percentage or share that we owe, and then we keep the rest. And then for all of that, we do have a debt management policy that we review annually, and then that's based off state statutes and guidelines. They did just update those in '25. Typically, they review them about every 2 to 3 years, so.
So just to wrap up, I think, again, this was a high-level overview. We'll certainly stand for questions and other areas that you might want us to inquire into further. I think some of the actions we've been taking, I think, see something, say something. I think to your point, Commissioner Winter, earlier, yes, we've made fraud reports in the last year and a half, longer than that. In talking with OIG, or the Office of Inspector General, just because I've had the opportunity to meet with them one-on-one, they do prioritize and put a higher ranking or justification, I guess, on referrals or reports coming in from county case managers, just knowing that that's probably a more accurate report to their agency. And so they've identified that out loud to us. So again, I think that's one of the main things we're doing, is reporting where we can and see. Last year, '25, we implemented all the programs kind of touching some of this, do the annual CMS training. This year, we just kind of blanket did it all HHS, so office support, child protection, for example, agencies that aren't necessary, or agencies, units that aren't necessarily involved with some of the CMS stuff are doing the training anyway, just to have a well-rounded staff pool who know where to report stuff. And then just proactive interactions with their providers. And so I say that, just, you know, Jeff, me, others, we get random inquiries from providers who are like, oh, we'd like to set up shop in Morrison County. Well, it's a vetting process for us. We want to know where'd you come from, what services you provide, how you doing this, is it a good fit, do you know anything about Morrison County? And so that's kind of the vetting process, I think, that happens here locally. I'll say it's easier in a smaller community for us to do that and work with our providers to ensure that we have good services here. And so we tend to lean towards the providers we know and are already established with and working with. And so just having those good relationships with them when we work through rate issues and some of this other stuff, I think helps us be proactive in some of those areas that maybe the larger counties are not. Continued work and priorities about MAXA, AMC, and at the state level. I mean, I know you have all heard about modernization efforts. I think one of the biggest struggles at the state and trying to combat this is we got 15 different programs and they're all old and you can't really cross them and compare them in any efficient way. So that continues to present challenges. Again, there's priorities and work being done on modernization at the legislative session that's underway right now. Also a reference just that LTSS committee and program integrity. So last year it was there was a subcommittee, I don't remember who was all appointed on that, but they're tasked with finding $178 million and putting that in a legislative report for the 2027 session. And so that work is underway. There's a handful of those programs on those 14 suspended programs that fall into that area. And so I've heard a lot of potential things that are already kind of in the works. And so I would imagine in the next 6 to 18 months, we'll probably see a lot of changes in some of those service areas pending legislative approval. So this is kind of an ever-changing area, and we will continue to do our best to monitor and report where we can and investigate where we do have the authority to investigate. And with that, I'll leave it to you for questions.
So before I go to Commissioner Lemire, I guess the one question that I have to ask, especially when we go back to the beginning of your presentation with prepayment review. And I guess the obvious question to me is so why wasn't this being done before? I mean, why, why wasn't there any inquiry into, are these applications valid in that? And I, ladies and gentlemen, don't get me wrong, I don't expect you to have the answer to that, but I think becomes that underlying question that the public is asking when they continually are flooded through the media with reports of fraud and missing dollars and misappropriated dollars out there. It is my hope that through all this, that the correct processes can be established within government to address the problem and eliminate the problem out there. And we see and know of successful companies in the private sector that this doesn't happen. It isn't allowed to happen, and they have processes and procedures in place. And I may be speaking to the choir, but I think government has to start looking at models that work and look at trying to adapt their processes to find some level of effectiveness. And I'll stop there. Commissioner Lemire, did you have?
I don't have really anything of content except to say thank you for being here today and thank you for what you guys do. It's astonishing how deep of knowledge you guys need to understand. Sometimes Jeff comes up here and he might as well be speaking in Greek because it's so confusing. And the multiple different programs that they have to learn and they have politicians changing it on them constantly is, you guys we're so lucky to have you. And Nate, if you could pass this along to every one of your individuals that are underneath you, that we appreciate everything you do. We appreciate it very much.
Thank you, Commissioner Lemire. Commissioner.
Bring Derek, sorry, you don't get to come and see us very often, so. How many years you been here now, Derek?
Just over 5.
Over 5. Attaboy. Did a good job.
Thank you.
Commissioner Casper.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, question. So Derek had mentioned there's like 25% return on these cases that are found that are inappropriate. Where do these funds go and how are they tracked? Are they just put back into the 26 budget, or what takes place there?
So I'll go first. I don't know if you want to add. So I'll just want to clarify, they're not necessarily misappropriated for like the MA estate. When the clients go on these programs, they do know that if they have certain amount of expenses that we are authorized. So just kind of a broad overview, the state will send us however many dollars they expend for their healthcare on MA. And then our job is to go in and collect what they can, whether it's from bank account. If there's a lot of expenses, that's when we kind of get into that probate action. So not necessarily fraud in that sense. But as far as the funds, so we say we collect 100,000 and we keep the 25,000, that just stays, that 25,000 stays in the HHS budget. Okay. So, and we do budget, I mean, we try, it's like I said, it's a little unpredictable, but we try and go off of like a 3 to 5 year average, just for our total collections and then what we pay out. And then the remaining stays to help kind of offset some of our costs here.
Very good. Thank you, Derek. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, so, and to that, Derek, do we have staff that are, and Nate, maybe this is to you, that are that's their job, they're relegated to investigate, I shouldn't say investigate, review that MA program for eligibility and accountability?
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
I would say, I mean, the financial worker team, Amy and Ashley's team, I mean, that's their primary responsibility, is to review all those applications and check the bank records and their work stubs and whatever other assets they may or may not have for that program. So essentially, that's their whole job. The collections job is one person, and then the other job is to try to recoup fees for the state and county levels, just based off of expenses, and you know, maybe a short vignette or a way to describe kind of Commissioner Casper's question earlier is, say an elderly family member ends up not being able to care for themselves in their home, and family can't do it anymore, and really the only option is nursing facility for that person, and let's say they have a $500,000 homestead. So when they end up going to the nursing home, there's some paperwork signed that, you know, the state can recoup some of those costs from the homestead upon that person passing. And so that's kind of where some of that collections process comes from. And so that's kind of the short version. Granted, there's a lot of nuances in there, but.
Sure. Very good. Thank you.
Other questions? Other questions? I'll also add, Jessica, thank you for also being here. We recognize we share you with some of our other fellow counties, but I think it's important for us too that you're here with us today too, and all of staff. So thank you.
Mr. Chair, if I just may close on one
Please.
thing, I think if you have questions or things come up, or if you're hearing fraud things in your area, I mean, certainly reach out to us. We can dig into it a little bit and look at it from our scope. So I'll leave the board with that.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for a very good presentation.
Keep up the good work.
Gentlemen, I think we're gonna take, we've been here for an hour and a half. I think we're gonna take about 7-8 minutes. We'll crank this up again at 10:35. How's that sound?
Yep.
Gentlemen, I'll bring us back to order and we'll resume our business here. Next on the agenda is land services, and so Amy is with us this morning. Amy, thank you for your patience with us this morning.
Morning.
Morning, Amy.
I just have one quick item for you today, and that is to consider the conditional use permit request from Haston Warnberg. This is to expand to a tier 2 poultry feedlot with the addition of a second barn. This was recommended for approval by the Planning Commission with one condition. And that condition is that the property owner shall establish and maintain a permanent vegetative buffer around the barns.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion to approve.
We have a motion by Commissioner Lemire and a second by Commissioner Casper to approve of this permit for Mr. Warnberg. Discussion.
I just want to verify.
Commissioner Wincher.
If I may, that's with the condition added.
That's with the condition, yes.
Well noted. Discussion.
Just that, I thought, Mr. Chair, just that
Commissioner
I
Lemire.
thought the Planning Commission did a good job. And Mr. Warnberg he has stacking slabs, he's gonna install another stacking slab, and he's gonna keep the vegetative buffer. He's gonna utilize the current driveway, and there's an offset of 97%. So it seems like a good plan. He was supported, he's got the Soil and Water Conservation District said that the site was suitable for a tier 2 feedlot.
We like the economic development.
And we like economic development, and we like agriculture.
Very well said. Commissioner Wincher.
The application was phenomenal too. Well, again, I think it makes everybody's job a lot easier when the application is complete and you know what they want and what they need.
Further discussion. Further discussion. Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, motion prevails.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chair. That's all I have for you.
Amy, have a great day.
Thank you,
Thank
you
you for
too.
being here. We have the extension report next. Good morning, Jackie.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. I guess I'll just give you a quick update on some upcoming extension events. To start, this Friday, I have a winter agronomy meeting. It's going to be 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Sauk Rapids Government Center. This event will have it's free for anyone to attend. We'll have 4 speakers, and we'll be covering a range of agronomy and conservation topics ranging from relay cropping, which is where you put basically 2 crops in the same year. There's also some topics on nitrogen management, IPM for cover crops, and then a little bit on herbicide planting as well. I also have an event coming up on March 10th. It's an organic crops day in Clearwater, Minnesota. This event is meant to foster some discussion between farmers and researchers about some of the challenges in organic row crop agriculture, just because some of the management tools are a little bit limited due to being organic. Other events that I'm here to mention are Quincy's Lunch and Learn series. Today from 12 to 1, she has a free webinar. It's going to be called Invasive Species Here and There. So she'll be talking about invasive species here in the Quad Counties, but then also some invasive species across the United States and around the world that are also interesting as well. On March 25th, she'll have a webinar called The Dirt on Worms, so you can look forward to that as well. You can sign up for the webinar. There's an extension page where you can sign up for those. I'll also mention Morrison County has their Spring Horticulture Day. This is put on by the Master Gardeners. It's going to be Saturday, March 28th at the Little Falls Community High School. This event it's $20, but there's basically 3 sessions, and there's maybe 3 or 4 topics that you can choose from for each of the sessions. So it will be a very educational day for gardeners.
So excuse me, Jackie. you would have to be a master gardener to approve, or to attend that event, or is that open to others?
So the event is put on by the Master Gardeners. Anyone can attend.
Okay, fantastic, thank you.
Other questions?
When was that class?
The Horticulture Day?
Yeah.
So that is Saturday, March 28th, and it starts at 8, and it should end around noon.
Thank you. Wish someone can teach me how to garden.
Anything else for us, Jackie?
Those are the upcoming events that I wanted to mention, so thank you all for your attention.
So Commissioner Casper has something for you.
Jackie, question to you, and this is, I don't know if you have the answer to that. Are there any new invasive weeds that have just popped up in recent years that have really been a struggle for farmers that you can?
I guess I know one of the weeds that I've been warned about is kochia. It's maybe more prevalent in western Minnesota.
Okay.
And less prevalent here. But I guess as far as like new weeds to be aware of, that's one that comes to mind.
How do you spell that?
Oh, Kochia.
Thank you. We'll look out for it. With the prevailing west winds, we'll probably see it soon.
Hopefully not.
Anything else, gentlemen, for Jackie?
Thank you, Jackie.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, awesome.
Have a great
Thank you.
day.
Gentlemen, Shannon's here. We have issue to discuss this morning.
They can all come.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the board.
Shannon.
Shannon Coy with Auditor Treasurer's Office, and I have Ken Watuki here from Valley Hardwoods and Jason Murray with David Drown Associates. And what we have for you today is a resolution. We're looking for a public hearing in the next 30 days to discuss the modification of the tax increment financing district that you approved back in October. I will pause for a few minutes to let Mr. Watuki kind of explain the situation he's found himself in and the need to modify the district.
And Ken, it's good to have you here and the ability to explain this. And I kind of look at this as it's a good problem to have.
It is.
So please proceed.
So part of the reason that I'm here is to do another building, another expansion. Some things that have changed since the last time I was in front of the board. There's a plant in Pierce, Minnesota that's going to be closing down at the end of March. It's owned by Dura Supreme, which has been bought out by Master Brand. Very large publicly traded cabinet manufacturer. They've decided that the exposure from that plant is too great for them, so they've opted to shut the plant down. Most of the work has already been moved to our facility. There's also another couple of jobs that'll be moving from Howard Lake, hopefully to our facility in the next week or so. So I've went from looking for a lot of business to having a lot of business. And since we've hired a new salesperson that started with us on the first of the year, I've had to slow him down just a little bit so that we can catch up on with employment and also with our current customer base before we're overwhelmed. We've offered jobs, and I believe we're going to get the majority of the people that are working from Pierce. We've matched salaries and vacation and benefits very closely to the Pierce facility with Howard Lake. I'm getting very good support. Excuse me, very good support from Dura Supreme out of Howard Lake. And there's a potential for more business to go to Sioux Falls, South Dakota, for us to keep expanding into. I believe that we have something to offer that some of the competitors out there in our short lead times and quality of product that we're putting out has made them impressed with the work that we've done with them in the last couple of years. I don't think they were intending this to happen for 2 to 3 years, and we just happen to have the ability to grow into it, thankfully. And I think we can do it again with more work coming with Sioux Falls, and there's another 4 plants that we could potentially be filling with orders.
Gentlemen, any questions for Mr. Watuki?
Just, Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Lemire.
Being, because what we have isn't really in detailed, so is the plan to add another building upon the land that you own?
Correct. And it would run, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, Mr. Watuki, I'm sorry. No.
It would run adjacent to the current building that we just built, so it would also be attached. And it would be about another 50,000 square feet.
Okay.
So the last building that we put in, we added 6 truck docks, and this would run parallel to that last facility that we just built.
So when, Mr. Chair?
Yes,
when we
Commissioner
have this
Lemire.
Public hearing, we'll get to determine the impact and all that stuff, correct, Shannon?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Chair, I'll be in support of this.
Okay. Other questions?
Again, Mr. Chair, I'm in favor of the public hearing, and I'm assuming we'll be in touch with the township too. Just to make
Yes,
sure
I have already.
Gets into that mold, so again, let's move forward, let's get him, hopefully we can get him expanded.
Commissioner Casper.
Mr. Chair, thank you. Now, Mr. Watuki, curious, have you already, how many amp load are you raising in this new venture?
Well, we have a 3,000 amp service. We'll probably be bringing on of load, not breaker loads, but actual true load, about another 200 to 400 amps of 480. We are currently producing 120% of our own electricity with solar. I am also aware that that's not necessarily at all times, so we still have demands that we need to take care of with morning loads and evening loads. Luckily, the service that we're connected to is one of 3. So Bolus is one leg off that transformer yard. Royalton, I'm sorry.
Blanchard,
Royalton,
yeah.
Royalton is the other leg off there, and we're the 3rd leg coming from there. So I actually struggle with high voltage from our line coming from that transformer yard. The other is being close to the switch stations in Blanchard. We do see minor blips when they're changing over because we're so close and our load is high enough that a lot of times when you see that light flicker, it'll shut some of our equipment down. So I have been working with Minnesota Power to find out, hey, can we do these after 3:30 so it doesn't shut my whole plant down when you guys are doing transfers? So if they're transferring from one substation to another substation, we see those blips.
Yes, and your new equipment is very sensitive, I'm sure, to voltage.
Surprisingly, it's less sensitive, so most everything that we're installing now on large motors is all frequency drive, so they make it through.
They absorb that.
They absorb it. It's the older machinery, as we have voltage fluctuations that tend to be more of a problem. So some of the older machinery tends to be more of an issue, the magnetic contactors, things of that nature.
Well, I'm happy for you.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's great.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, so gentlemen, we have Commissioner Moran, please.
Question for Shannon, will we be restarting this current one, or is this an additional new?
This will be a modification to the existing.
And what date does it go back to for the initial value of the property? Before this current edition?
I'll let Jason.
Mr. Murray.
Commissioner, yes, it goes back to the time when we created it, so it was before this most recent, what I'm calling the first phase, which was started in 2025, and now this secondary phase in 2026 of additional 50,000 square foot. So it'll go back to that October basis, which was the original facility before the 2 expansions.
And when does the timeline start for the TIF payments?
It'll start based on that original plan in 2027 through 2035, a 9-year TIF district. This modification cannot change that and will not change that term. The modification mainly is from a budget and capacity standpoint, because obviously now you've got significant more tax base that's part of this TIF district now. So we're going through this modification mainly from a budget standpoint, and then the impacts, as Commissioner Lemire said, that we have to share those impacts with the public as part of this. So.
Further questions?
None.
Further questions? So this is I look at this as a great opportunity to not only have a business expansion, but we're able to keep some jobs that were looking to be lost within Morrison County, and basically just relocate them. And the importance of that in Morrison County cannot be understated enough. Where we're at with this is we need a vote on the resolution. So gentlemen, I will entertain
Make a motion to approve, Mr. Chair.
we have a motion by Commissioner Lemire and a second by Commissioner Wincher
Let's have more discussion.
to approve of this resolution, which would then open up that opportunity for a public hearing on this. Discussion. Commissioner Wincher.
If I may, this does not say that we're gonna approve it or disapprove it until, we have to have the process of the public hearing. So that's a very important. The public hearing time is set, I was kind of trying to read here. What number is that?
April 7th.
Is that gonna be, I should say, I see that morning here after the board meeting, or is this gonna be in the afternoon, evening?
It would be in the morning, similar to how we did it last time, 9 a.m. on the board.
On April 7th?
Yes,
Okay.
And what, is that a county board meeting, April 7th?
yes. The RDFA will also be here, similar to that process we did last time where it was a joint public hearing with the RDFA.
So, Mr. Chair, we would have it prior to our board meeting start, is that what you're saying?
Well, I
would-
thought it was part of the agenda last time.
Yeah. And I think the reason we state that public hearing state that at 9 o'clock, we are here for our board meeting at 9 o'clock. We can hold the public meeting anytime after 9 o'clock. We cannot hold it prior to 9 o'clock. So my thought on that would be, and I would say this would be something we'd work out between the administrator and our auditor treasurer, Ms. Coyle, that this would fall in place somewhere within our agenda for that meeting. So depending on the rest of the fill of that agenda, this will probably happen, I would guess somewhere in that 9:30, 10 o'clock range that morning, whatever.
Yes,
But,
as well as with the RDFA.
Correct, and
You have to go out and meet with the RDFA and then come back in with their,
Yep, and we already went through this like a fire drill on the first time around, and I thought it went very smoothly under your leadership as chairman, Commissioner Lemire.
I was gonna say that.
And
He just wants the kudos.
And so we will also notify and invite the members of the Rural Finance Development Authority to be here that morning. We will recess the meeting, go to an anterior room for that opportunity for the RDFA to meet, come back with that recommendation, and obviously hold public input from anyone who wants to comment from the public. Further discussion?
Just one
no.
thing to add, that part of that agenda will also be you guys approving the modification after the public hearing. That would also be on that same day.
Yep, we will take, then the board will take the vote for the ask of approval on that. Further discussion? Further discussion? Everybody understand what we're doing and we're going, where we're going with this? I thank you all for your input on that. Seeing no further discussion, we have a motion and a second to approve the resolution, which will open up a public hearing. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed?
Nay.
There being 4 in favor and 1 against, the motion prevails. Gentlemen, Shannon, Thank you. Anything else you have for us, Shannon, this morning?
That was all.
Mr. Murray, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
See you in a couple
Ken?
weeks.
Yep.
Or more than a couple weeks, 3 weeks.
Gentlemen, I'm looking at our agenda, and I turn to Mr. LeBlanc, our administrator.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just one topic and several updates to that one topic. We talked about it here 2 weeks ago, and it's the firearm use topic that I'll just refer to as. There were several tasks given to me, and I just wanted to give the board an update. First off, notice in the paper was sent out, and I looked in this past week's record, and it was captured, and it's set to be published 2 more times, again notifying March 12th, 6 p.m. public hearing date. Second item, KLTF Commissioner Winter had asked if I could get invited to or find some time to speak on this topic and others and provide an update to the county and the listeners of KLTF Radio, and that is set for the morning of March 2nd, 8:30 a.m. So I'll be on meeting with Ron, 8:30 Monday morning. Third, I believe Commissioner Lemire had asked if we could get a DNR representative to be here for that public hearing. I reached out to our sheriff and chief deputy. Chief deputy reached out to DNR contact, and the position of the DNR is to not send representatives to those public hearings. So that's the position of the DNR administration. An example resolution is available in administration for public to review and inspect. So that is in place. And then the last piece, I received a mailing that came in from Chris Swedzinski, State Representative, District 15A, and Steve Drakowski.
Drazkowski.
Yeah, and I can't help it. I'm Polish descent on my mother's side, so those look like 2 relatives or something here with the skis. But anyway, they sent us a letter and wanted to send to Morrison County a couple of studies that have been done that acknowledge or reference the safety of rifle versus shotgun slug. So those 2 reports are here for the board to review. It is inconclusive. That rifle is more dangerous, and actually, according to these studies, it may suggest that rifle is safer, referencing ricochet and the angle at which the round is fired. So I just offer that to the board. If anybody would like to review these, they have been received from these 2 representatives to share regarding this topic.
Mr. LeBlanc, would those documents also be available to the public with a ask?
Absolutely, Mr. Chair. Public data, and we can keep them at the counter if folks want to check them out. If we have to produce them, there's a charge. I believe it's 25 cents a page. But if they want to review them on site, they will certainly be here for review.
Fantastic.
That is all I have, Mr. Chair. Pending any other topics or questions?
Gentlemen, any questions for Mr. LeBlanc? I will say that Mr. Swedzinski, Chris Swedzinski, is the chief author in the House of the bill to remove the shotgun zone from the state of Minnesota. I do know Mr. Swedzinski. If there's nothing else for Mr. LeBlanc, then I will look to our deputy chief clerk to help us prioritize schedules here. Dates.
We'll go March 2nd through March 14th.
The 2nd through the 14th, and before he loses any more of his voice, Commissioner Lemire.
The 3rd, we have a planning session, 8:30. We have a budget committee meeting, 9 o'clock. audit entrance meeting, but I think that's just for the chair, Mr. Chair, at 11. And a planning commission board of adjustments meeting at 6 o'clock. We have a TSHWAC meeting on the 6th at 8:30. We have a yellow ribbon committee meeting, or I have a yellow ribbon committee meeting at 3:30.
On the 6th?
On the 9th, sorry. On the 10th, we have a board meeting at 9. On the 11th, there's a department head meeting at 8:30. On the 12th, we'll be having the firearm public hearing here at the boardroom at 6 o'clock PM. And that's all I got, Mr. Chair, thank you.
Fantastic, thank you, Commissioner Lemire. Commissioner Moran?
Monday, March 2nd, a public safety meeting here in the boardroom at 6 o'clock.
On what date was that again?
Monday, March 2nd.
Okay. Anything else?
Nope, I'm good, thanks.
Commissioner Wincher?
Okay, let's get back here. I believe on the 3rd, there's just PC, there's no BOA. So that's at 6 PM, so just, because I just double checked, yeah, there's no Board of Adjustment that evening. And then on the 9th, we have extension at 5:30, and that's gonna be upstairs, I believe. And the 11th, there's Mississippi Headwaters Watershed, and that's at 8:30 at the Rice Lions Club building. On the 12th, there's Little Rock Watershed, and that's at 2 PM Thursday, and that's at the Rice Village Hall. And you got me covered.
Commissioner Casper?
Mr. Chair, I'm covered, thank you.
And I am as well. Gentlemen, is there anything further that you would like to discuss or bring before the board here this morning? If not, I will adjourn us at 11:02 a.m.
Good job,